Okay. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So this is one of the virtual machine we were working on, and we have ADDS role installed, right? If you guys look at this, so we have Active Directory Domain Services and DNS role, two roles installed on this machine,
Yes.
and the machine is promoted as a domain controller on this server. Okay. So once the addition of role is done, then we'll go with users and computers under tools, where we'll be configuring the Active Directory. We'll have the options to manage users and computers. Okay. So when you open this console, you'll be directory users and computers. So here you will see the domain name, I mean the forest name which you have created. So I've just created a forest named resi.com. Okay. Likewise, we created like mujahid.com, if you guys remember in our previous sessions. In the
Yes.
similar way, I have created a new domain that is resi.com. Okay, so in this domain, you will have all the objects which are listed in the organization. So this is your Active Directory. Resi.com is your Active Directory. This is your directory name, resi.com. Okay, so here you will see all the or objects which belongs to company. Okay, so computers, any which is added to the domain, like you guys work of some of the other company, right? So your company will provide you the laptops. So those laptops will be domain joined to your company domain, right? So those laptops or all those or laptops will be listed over here in the Active Directory computers components. Okay. Similarly, the users which gets created in a domain, all the user accounts will be listed under the users folder. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll create some user in Active Directory. Okay, we'll go for a new user account. Go with Raghu. So the login name for Raghu would raghu@razi.com. Okay, and then I'll give a default password. And these are some options which an administrator can make use of, like when he user account, he will be giving a default password. Like let's say you're working for Infosys company, so the default password will be Infosys at 123, right? Whenever a new user is getting created, they will have a default password for it. So the user, when he is logging in the next time, be able to put his own customized password, a secure password, right? Infosys at 123 is a default password which anyone can remember easily. But in order to have a secured password, if an administrator is enabling this checkbox, user must change password at next logon. Whenever this new user is logging in, be prompted to set up new password.
Yes, Razi. I've seen this.
We can also take a look with this, and password if you don't want to be expiring anytime, so you can use this. Or if you don't want the user to change his password anytime, you can use these options. Okay, do not match. Seriously.
Razi, you're giving Azure AD at the rate 2022.
I was giving something like training at 123. Well,
Okay.
so I've just created a user account with Raghu. So if I need to log in with this account, you will see that it will ask me to change the password. Let's give a try. from this machine. Okay, it's loading. Hmm. I'll delete. I'll go with other user. The user's password must be changed before signing in. So whenever he is signing in, he will be prompted to change his password just because that checkbox is enabled while user creation. So I'll give it like Azure AD at 2023. Yeah. Password has been changed, but I don't want to sign in with that account. I'll go back to my account because I'm a domain administrator with this account, so I can do everything. But Raghu is not an administrator; he's just a user, so he will not have access to everything. Okay. So this is about the user creation. Let's go back. So when a user is getting created, you will see certain properties of the user, like the these are the you can name it as attributes: first name, last name, display name, office, phone number, email address. So if you fill it out, these will be the okay. So if a user is getting logged out, he will be. I mean, this checkbox will be enabled. And if you want to unlock him, you can just unlock the account from here. This happens often, right, in your company. I mean, your account gets locked out and you call the IT support team and they unlock you. So this is what they do. They will just click this option, unlock the account, and it will get unlocked. Okay. And yeah, there are a few more things which we need to check. So as of now, you don't see a tab called attribute editor over here, right? But in order to view the attribute editor, you have to enable advanced features. Okay. Now if you look at the users properties, you will see something called attribute editor over here. So this is what the attributes looks like exactly. So we have these many attributes for a particular user account. These many attributes. Okay. For example, I'll show you a few which you can easily understand. CN is the common name for this user. Okay, Raghu. CO is country code, which country he belongs to. Okay, country code we have a separate one. Country codes. This is the one, and department number, description, display name. What is the display name of this user? Raghu. And then distinguished name is something, but what is the hierarchy of this user? I mean, he is from razi.com under user. He is, it is from left, right to left hierarchy. Okay. Inside the domain controller razi.com, there is a folder called users. Inside users folder, there is a user that is named Raghu. So this is the hierarchy of this object in Active Directory, right? Inside razi.com, there is a folder called users. Inside users, the user account is created as Raghu. Okay,
Yes.
this is the distinguished name and employee ID, employee number. I'm sure if you're a working employee, so you will have a dedicated employee ID, right? So those parameters will
Yes.
be listed over here. Given name is also Raghu. So we have discussed a lot about attributes, if you guys remember, why attributes are important. We took an example of Ola, Uber application, timesheet application, right? So why attributes are important? Because they want to provide a better user interface for the application needs attribute information about for the user attributes information to in order to provide better user interface to the user, right? So these attributes will be requested by the application, these type of attributes, and Active Directory will be sending these attributes whichever the application requested out of these many attributes. Let's say application requested the attribute called given name. What is the given name of the user? Or the department ID. We discussed about the department ID, right? Why department number, department name, or department number is important? It is important because in your timesheet when you log in, if let's say not the department, okay, the designation indicator, this one, designation indicator. If you are a manager, you will get an option to approve or deny the approve or reject the attendance. But if you are just a engineer, you will not get the option to approve or reject the attendance. That is where this attribute is important, the designation indicator, right?
Yes. Razi, I have one doubt. Like, if we have to make any changes over here, is it our duty to add all of these details? Because while creating the object, we did not get these many options, no?
Yeah, you can manually edit it, but there are options when a user is getting created. You can have a script. There will be a script written automatically. Let's say in your company you will have a dedicated user creation script. Okay, so whenever a user is getting created, all the parameters will be by default. It will be added over there. Like he is an like let's say we are onboarding a new employee to the company, so it is essential to indicate the designation of that person, right? Whether he is which level employee he is. The competency or the designation, he is a manager or he is a engineer, or what is the designation of that employee. So there will be a script. A default script, maybe. Okay, so every company will follow a script wherein they will execute this script, wherein all the parameters will be written whenever a user is getting created. So manual user creation is one way, but ideally in companies we'll do it with PowerShell scripts. We create users with PowerShell scripts directly. So we will run a script wherein all the users gets created automatically with all the default attributes added over there.
Okay,
Adding
Razi.
everything manually will not be ideal task for everyone, because in a company where you have hundreds of users onboarding every now and then. So you have to create users manually. It's not possible. So basically, they follow scripts. Or if you want to edit this parameter, you can add a value manually as well. If you double
Oh,
click on that, you can add it. Okay, let's take a look at few more. FSMO role owner. Okay, home directory. Last logon timestamp. When did this user logged in last time? So it was 8:42 p.m. because my machine time is 8:50 over here. So 8:42 is what I logged in. It's Pacific Standard Time. Okay. Last log on timestamp.
think
Last log on. Sorry.
it is giving wrong date, Razi. Today it's 4 now.
Yeah, yeah. My machine time is using Pacific Standard Time, US time. This
Okay,
is
okay.
PST time zone, right? Pacific Standard Time over here. So my machine time is, if you look at over here, it's taking the machine time, 8:51 p.m. So depending upon the machine time, it will log.
Got it.
Mobile number, middle name, everything. These are a few more attributes. So depending upon the application requirements, we will pass on the required attributes. Object SID. If you guys remember, what is this object SID?
SID number.
SID number, which gets generated whenever a new account a new object gets added to Active Directory. RID master will allocate a SID, a unique SID to each and every object. So this is the unique SID of this object, SID number.
Okay.
Security ID.
Yes. Okay. Postal address, postal code, post office box. Okay. Physical delivery office. All these are the attributes. Preferred language, right? Password last set. Telephone number. Okay. So this is how attributes are configured. Now we'll also take a look at the OU creation, sites creation. And yeah, we can also add computers over here if we are creating any computer. Let's say if we are creating another virtual machine with Windows 10, so we can add that machine to the domain. So you guys know how to add a machine to domain? Any idea on that?
No, Razi.
No, no.
Okay. So let's say on this base machine, I have Windows 10. So if I am looking to add this machine to a domain, what I need to do is I need to go to my PC properties. Advanced system settings. In the computer name, I have to change. Here I have to give the domain name. Okay, it's currently in work group. Work group in the sense it is not connected to any domain. If let's say this computer is belonging to a company, so I have to have this machine added to the company domain, right? Not sure if it will resolve my domain name, but I can just give a try. No. So basically, this is how we add a machine to the domain. Okay. So you have to go to the machine properties and go for the. It will be in work group by default. change it to domain, enter the domain name. So your laptop, whichever machine you're trying to connect to the domain, it should be able to communicate with your domain controller. Okay, so my domain controller is somewhere over here. It's a virtual machine running in the other machine, right? Other, I mean, lab server. But my laptop is in a different domain altogether. So it is not able to, I mean, ping or not able to communicate with my Razi.com domain, which is there in the other machine. But if I create a virtual machine somewhere over here, one second. If I create a virtual machine somewhere over here and I have it as a Windows 10 machine, okay, if I install a Windows 10 machine over here, a new virtual machine, and then that machine I can add to the domain exactly because these are all connected to each other in the same network. All these virtual machines are in the same network. So I can add that machine to the domain as well, and that machine will be listed over here as a domain joined machine. Okay. So now let's go with the creation of multiple. We will divide objects into organization units. We'll create some OUs. So this is how you create an OU. You just have to right click on the domain name, go for new object. What is the object that you're going to create? You're going to create a organization unit. Last time we created a user. Now we are creating a organization unit. Okay. So let's say I will name it as HR team. Okay. This is an interesting option. It will protect the deletion of the object. If this checkbox is enabled, you will not be able to delete the object. Like let's see if I'm looking to delete it. If I say delete, it will say you do not have sufficient privileges to delete the HR object. Okay, because I have enabled the security on that machine. Okay, not this one. So this is a organization unit we just created, it, named as HR team. So what I will do is I will segregate the users. So all the users are currently listed in this folder, right? By default, they are created in this folder, users folder. Now I can move people around to different organization units, so I can segregate them. I can differentiate between them. So let me just create few more accounts, and then we'll move them to different OUs. I will remove the checkbox this time. Okay. All right. So I've got like few users, Raghu, Razi, and Uzma. So let's say Raghu is belonging to HR team. So I will move this user into HR team. Okay. Now this, if you go to HR team, you will see one user listed over there. Similarly,
So
I
it's
will
like
create,
backend.
yeah, drag and drop, simple.
Okay.
Okay. So sales team, let's say Razi belongs to sales department, right? And now Uzma belongs to IT team. All right, so we have got some users at HR department, sales department, and IT team. All right, so now what we can do, as we discussed about what is the benefit of organization units, we can differentiate people and we can protect our resources. I mean, depending upon the access required for these different departments, right? Like let's say, for example, the printer access. So printer access is not required for sales team. It is not required for IT team. It is only required for HR team. So like that, we can have different policies in place for these different departments. I mean, we can restrict few things for HR team, while we can allow those things for the other team. Sales team can have access to something, but HR team will be restricted to access those resources. So we can differentiate between these teams. We can differentiate with the type of permissions they have. So how do we do that? With the help of group policies, we do that. Okay. So now these departments, HR team, sales team, IT team, we can actually create group policies on with these objects. Okay, on these organization units, on these containers, we will define some policies which will restrict them in accessing few things and which will allow them to access the other resources which they need access to. Okay, so how do we do that? We will go back to the roles. I mean, we will go for Windows over here. So under Windows, you will see Windows Administrative Tools. So the same thing, users and computers. I mean, you can go to the Active Directory users and computers over here from here as well, or else you can go from Server Manager as well. From Server Manager also you can go to Tools and you can go to Users and Computers. Either this way or this way. Nothing but same. Okay. So let's go from here. It was simple. So I have something called group policy management over here, which comes by default with Active Directory. So when you configure Active Directory, group policy management also comes into picture. Okay, this is my base machine, I guess. One second. No, there's something. Oh yeah. Okay. Here I have to. This. Yeah. Group policy management. Okay. So this is the group policy management console. This is the forest, resi.com, and inside this forest, you will see the OUs and sites. So over here, resi.com, you will see the departments which we just created. IT team, sales team, right? You will
Yeah.
not see the other folders. The other folders like users, computers. You cannot create group policy on these folders. Users, computers, these folders you cannot create group policy. You can create group policy on these object, on these containers. Okay, the organization units. That is why we create organization units. Now these organization units are listed over here as well under group policy management console. So now I can create a policy on this container. If I have to just right click, create a GPO in this domain. GPO is just nothing but group policy object. So when I click over there, it will ask me to give a name to the policy. Say okay. Now I just have to edit this policy. So now when I'm configuring a policy, when I'm editing it, so it is giving me two options: computer configuration and user configuration. So there are some policies under computer configuration as well, and there are some policies under user configuration as well. So what is the difference between computer configuration and user configuration? Take an example that this container, the container which I'm working on, sorry, HR team, this container, this organization unit consists of some users as well as some computers. Okay, computer is also an object, user is also an object. So let's say this container contains some computers as well as some users. So when I'm configuring this policy, so I have some options like computer configuration and user configuration. If I create a policy, if I'm modifying, or if I'm making some policy, I mean enabling some policies under the computer configuration, then this policy will apply on computer level. Okay, so computer level in the sense, let's say there is one computer which is added to this organization unit. The name of the computer is Raghu's PC. Okay, Raghu's PC part of this organization unit HR team. Okay, so now when I create a policy under computer configuration context on this particular organization unit where Raghu's PC is added, so what will happen is, irrespective of which user is logging into Raghu's PC, he will be applied with the policy. ठीक है?
Okay, okay.
Irrespective of whoever is logging into Raghu's PC, कोई भी यूजर लॉग इन करने दो, वो पॉलिसी अप्लाई होती है, क्योंकि पॉलिसी अप्लाइड है कंप्यूटर लेवल पे. कंप्यूटर कॉन्फ़िगरेशन में पॉलिसी लगाने का मतलब ये है कि कंप्यूटर लेवल पे पॉलिसी लगी हुई है. अब वो कंप्यूटर पे कोई भी एक्सेस करने दो, उनके ऊपर वो पॉलिसी अप्लाई होती. ठीक है?
Yes, Rajesh. Like some machines which are connected to organization, we cannot access some sites. Likewise.
Exactly. Exactly. So, irrespective of which user is logging into that computer, he will be restricted with those policies. Right. Similar to that, this is about computer configuration. But let's say if I am creating a policy under user configuration, okay, under user configuration, I am creating a policy, a restriction, okay, under user context. So what will happen? अभी 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 ये पॉलिसी मैं कहाँ पे अप्लाई कर रहा हूँ, एचआर टीम ओयू पे. ठीक है, अब एचआर टीम ओयू में कुछ यूजर्स भी है, जैसा कि रघु इज अ यूजर अकाउंट विच इज पार्ट ऑफ एचआर टीम. नाउ of which machine Raghu is logging in, he will be applied with that policy, because policy is applied on Raghu's account. अभी रघु जहां भी लॉग इन करेंगे उनके ऊपर वो पॉलिसी अप्लाई होगी, क्योंकि रघु के अकाउंट के ऊपर पॉलिसी अप्लाइड है.
Okay,
Policy is
if
applied on the user level, that is Raghu account.
वो
Understood the
दूसरे सिस्टम
difference?
में वो दूसरे सिस्टम
Yes,
में भी
Rajesh. One is to machine, one is to user account.
Exactly. Yeah, Uzma, you were saying something.
if he logs in with the same name in other computer, so the policy applies on him, right?
हाँ, क्योंकि रघु के अकाउंट के ऊपर रेस्ट्रिक्शंस है.
Okay.
तो रघु जब भी वो अकाउंट से लॉगिन करेंगे, इरेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ विच कंपनी कंप्यूटर ही इज लॉगिंग इन, अभी वो कंप्यूटर एचआर टीम में एडेड हो या ना हो, लेकिन
Yes.
वो रघु का अकाउंट एडेड है, और रघु के अकाउंट के ऊपर एक पॉलिसी एप्लीकेबल है, यहाँ पे यूजर अकाउंट लेवल पे पॉलिसी एप्लीकेबल है. सो व्हेन ही इज लॉगिंग इन विद रघु's account, he will be applied with that policy and he will be having those restrictions irrespective of where he is logging in.
Okay.
ठीक है?
Understood.
Understood the difference between computer configuration and user configuration?
Yes.
All right. So now we'll take a look at few of the sample policies. Security settings. So we have hundreds and thousands of policies which are already available. So let's say account policy, password policy, maximum password age. We can define a password age for this computer. Okay. So a computer account, for a computer there will be a computer account, right? Like local users in for a computer. So for those accounts we can define the password age policy. Okay, so we can limit the age of the policy, how many days you want to restrict the policy age. So after this age, the user will have to change the password for that computer account. Minimum age, maximum age. So these are some example policies we have. Local policies, security options, rename guest account, no, application control policies here. This will app locker. Administrative templates. Let's go for this one. There will be some simple policies over here. You will understand. Yeah. So under control panel, we have an option. Do not display the lock screen. Prevent changing start menu background. I mentioned this, right? If you guys remember, I mentioned like the user should not be able to change the background picture of the desktop, right? So prevent changing the start menu background, prevent changing the lock screen and log on image, right? When you lock your machine, you will see a scenery, right? When you lock your machine, you will see a picture in the background. So that background
Yes.
image, if you want to restrict people that they should not change that background image, there is a policy available. Prevent changing lock screen and log on image. If you can also force a specific image to be the lock screen and log on image, what you can do in this policy, you can, when you enable it, it will ask you, one second. When you enable this policy, you can force a image, a particular image uh, which you want to set it as a default image. There should be an option over here when you're enabling it. It should give you an option to select an image. Okay. Prevent enabling lock screen camera. Start background. Also, there will be few more user accounts. See printers. Printer level policies. There are n policies just for printer access. Allow, I mean, activate the printing and lot of other policies, lot of other conditions you can apply for access to printer with the help of these policies. Okay, start menu and taskbar. This will be interesting. Start layout, pin apps to start when installed. Okay, so you can modify, you can configure the layout of the start menu as well. You have to have a file to define the layout, then you can modify the layout of the start menu. Again, on the system level, you have certain policies. So these are predefined policies. You don't have to define them. They are already defined and available. You just have to enable or disable them depending upon your requirement. That's it. Okay, so how many policies we have? It's there. I mean, tons of policies already available. Oh, what just happened? It's got disconnected. Reason. There's something wrong. Still connected, right? Yep. Just got disconnected. Let me just restart the server. I also wanted to showcase something. Let me go back to the tenant. So this is something we all have created, right? In the initial sessions, we have created a free trial tenant. So I guess you both have your own tenants, right?
Yes.
You've created your own
Yes.
Azure tenants. So one thing I wanted to mention about the domain which we create in on premises in the sense the one we are practicing now in our labs, right? So that is called on-premises Active Directory. You're aware of this terminology, right? What is on-premises
Yes.
Active Directory? On-premises in the sense something is present at your premises locally, at your premises. So Active Directory, which used to be there earlier, Windows Active Directory, is now termed as on-premises Active Directory, just to differentiate between Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory is not present at your premises. It is in cloud, right? It is in Microsoft Cloud. So just to differentiate between the two Active Directories, we now term it as on-premises Active Directory, the same Active Directory which we are configuring from these many days in our lab servers. So that is present in my lab environment physically. So that is my on-premises Active Directory. So whenever we create a domain over there, like let's think of a company, Wipro, okay, Wipro.com. So when Wipro got established, okay, so they have their own domain, right? That is Wipro.com. So how do they get this domain? Any idea? They just named it, or how it would be? Any
Uh,
ideas on domains? Yeah,
they
yeah,
have to get registered with that domain.
exactly. They have to register their domain somewhere globally, so it will be globally recognized. Like you might have heard about GoDaddy or some domain providers, right? GoDaddy is a very
Yes.
known domain provider, right? So these are domain providers. So you have to register it somewhere, and you have to pay for it, right? When someone is making your domain globally recognized, they will charge for it, right?
Yes.
So you have to have a domain purchased from them, basically. Similarly, when we are so what will happen, like when you have your own domain, for example Wipro.com. So when you have your own domain, that domain which you created in on premises. So right now we are just creating our domains, right? Resi.com, Mujahid.com. We are just randomly creating. We don't own those domains, right? Those domains we never purchased, and they are not globally recognized. They are just configured at our lab environments, but we do not own those domains. So what will happen with those domains? We will not be able to utilize Azure Active Directory with the same domains because we do not own those domains. We haven't purchased them, right? So in order to make use of the same domains in Azure Active Directory, you have to have your own domain in place. Okay, so for example, Wipro.com, they have their own domain. So Wipro.com is functioning from decades, from so many years when cloud, there was no cloud as well at that time, right? There was no cloud environment at all. So they were functioning only in on premises all the time, right? They had their own Active Directory created in on premises. They were onboarding all the new employees which are getting onboarded to the company. They're creating their accounts in the Windows Active Directory with the domain like @wipro.com itself, right?
Yes.
Later on, when they planned to move their environment into cloud, they had a challenge, right? Let's say, I mean, my Active Directory, like we are building our own Active Directory at the moment in on premises. Now when we start learning about Azure, we will move the same Active Directory into Azure Active Directory. Likewise, how companies did, right? Like take an example of Wipro. They were functioning in on premises for decades. When cloud came into market, they moved into Azure Active Directory, right? Similarly, we are going to do the same thing. In our labs, we are currently working on premises Active Directory. We are creating our environment, we are creating users, we are creating OUs, we are creating policies, right? We are building our environment in on premises. Now, when we will start learning Azure Active Directory from next week. We will move the same environment into cloud. So we will reproduce the similar scenario how companies work, right? So that you will get a practical idea how companies will switch from on premises to Azure. Getting it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Ravi.
So exactly. So Wipro, let's take an example of Wipro. So when they plan to move their environment from on premises to cloud, they had a challenge, right? So Wipro.com was the domain they were using. So when they start moving the users into cloud, they cannot afford another domain, right? They cannot have, okay, let's say Raghu is working with Wipro from last 5 years. So there is an account called raghu.deshmi at the rate wipro.com. So he is using this account from last 5 years. Now, since Wipro is moving into cloud, Wipro is asking like, we do not have a purchase domain. So this Wipro.com we just create it without purchasing it. Like likewise we are doing over here. Razi.com I just created it without purchasing it. So now in Azure, I cannot recognize this domain because this domain is not globally recognized. I haven't purchased it from anywhere, right? So I'm asking Raghu at .deshmi at wipro.com this user account. I'm asking him to have a new account getting created in cloud. So he will have to maintain two different accounts, one for on-premises, one for cloud. That will be a very hectic task for each and every user, right? To remember two different accounts, one for on-premises accesses and one for cloud access. So that's not convenient at all, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we
Yes.
have to have a uniqueness. We have to have same account at both the places. For that, purchasing a domain is very important. Let me go back to the portal. So here under Azure Active Directory, you have something called custom domain names. Before onboarding any on-premises users to cloud, you will have to have your domain verified over here. Likewise, I have few domains. Resi.tech with I, Resi.tech with Y. So I have purchased these domains. I have these domains are owned by me. So if I have an on-premises environment with the same domain name, like Wipro has an on-premises environment with raghu.deshmi at wipro.com. So Raghu is part of Wipro from last 5 years working with on-premises Active Directory. Now Wipro is moving to cloud, so they have to have same domain verified in cloud as well. Wipro.com should be verified as a own domain. I mean, if they own this domain, अगर ये उनका खुद का domain है, तो ये लोग ये domain को verify कर सकते Azure में. Nothing but आप Azure को बोल रहे कि ये मेरा domain है. This domain belongs to me. You are verifying your domain in Azure. How do you will do that? You will add a custom domain. You will you will add a domain razi.com. Okay, you will add this domain name with, and when you add a domain name, it will give you some txt I mean some codes basically. Okay, some txt record. These are the DNS records. So this DNS records, you will have to give this, I mean you will have to provide these records to your domain provider. Let's say GoDaddy. ठीक है, GoDaddy को जाके बोलना है कि ये मेरा txt record है. TTL, this is the TTL number. These are the destination addresses which I have. So please create a record for this TXT. तो आप क्या बोलेंगे, GoDaddy को जाके बोलेंगे कि GoDaddy के, फॉर एग्जांपल यू हैव परचेज द डोमेन फ्रॉम GoDaddy. ठीक है, तो आप क्या करेंगे, GoDaddy को जाके बोलेंगे कि ये रिकॉर्ड क्रिएट करो ग्लोबली, so that Azure will recognize that this is my own domain. ठीक है?
Yes,
Getting
yes.
confused or
Clear, Razi.
clear है? जो कोई भी आपका डोमेन प्रोवाइडर है, लेट्स से GoDaddy, तो GoDaddy आप क्या टीएक्सटी डिटेल्स जाके देंगे, तो GoDaddy क्या करेगा, वहां पे एक टीएक्सटी रिकॉर्ड ऐड करेगा. ऐड करने से क्या होगा, Azure will be able to recognize that this domain belongs to you. This is your own domain, and then your domain will be a verified domain in Azure. So I have to click verify. Once the records are created, I have to click on verify. Since I haven't added, the verification will fail. ठीक है, अगर मैं वापस से जाऊंगा डोमेन नेम्स में, तो resi.com लिस्ट आउट तो करेगा, लेकिन इट विल बी अ अनवेरिफाइड डोमेन. इट विल बी अनवेरिफाइड लाइक दिस. तो जब तक कि वेरीफाई नहीं हो जाता, यू कैन नॉट onboard your on-premises users to cloud. Let me delete them. This is also a unverified domain. ठीक है, ये जो बाकी के मेरे डोमेन्स है, resi.tech, ये तो this domain comes by default. When you create a tenant, free trial tenant, you will be getting a on microsoft.com domain. ठीक है. सो अभी अपन जो ऑन प्रोमाइसिस में जो एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, सो इट विल बी बेटर इफ वी क्रिएट दैट एनवायरनमेंट विद अ परचेज डोमेन. So there is a easy option to purchase a domain. Likewise, I purchased. Let me show you here. Um,
Razi, these domains are for lifetime or it's like we have to pay after a
yeah, you
certain
will
time.
have to pay. Let's take an example. आपके नाम से अगर मैं सर्च करता हूँ, तो रजीड सॉरी डॉट इन इज ऑलरेडी यूटिलाइज्ड. तो आपके पास कुछ ऑप्शंस है, जैसे कि रघु डॉट ऑनलाइन 75 रुपीज में 1 साल के लिए अवेलेबल है. फॉर
Okay.
1 ईयर यू कैन यूज इट इन 75 रुपीज. रघु डॉट टेक बोल के भी होगा, आई थिंक सो. नहीं है. रघु डॉट रघु डॉट साइट है. ठीक है. सो रघु डॉट स्टोर है. सो यू कैन परचेज फॉर 75 रुपीज फॉर 1 ईयर.
Okay, okay,
सिमिलरली
got
आई
it.
हैव माई डोमेन्स, ये जो गजी डॉट टेक जो डोमेन है वो मैं 75 रुपीज में परचेज किया. लेट्स चेक फॉर उस्मा. ठीक है, उस्मा डॉट ऑनलाइन इज अवेलेबल फॉर 75 रुपीज.
So, Razi, this is how local shops go online, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that is how they purchase domains and they make it online. Yeah. ये फर्स्ट ईयर आपको डिस्काउंट है 75. लाइक यू आर सेविंग 97%, यू गेटिंग 97% ऑफ डिस्काउंट रेट. But for
Yes.
next year, if you are continuing, then it will charge you more. Okay, so I'm just using
So
it for 1 year. 1 year is enough for practice, right? Later on, you can purchase some other domain for again 75 rupees. ठीक है, so this is how we can set up our own lab environment with a working domain. ठीक है, ये जो purchase domain है, ये एक working domain आपको मिल जाएगा. Same domain you can create a cloud. I mean, you can sync the same with same UPN in Azure Active Directory. तो आप क्या करेंगे, जैसे रघु डॉट स्टोर है, रघु डॉट ऑनलाइन है, तो रघु डॉट ऑनलाइन के नाम से एक डोमेन कंट्रोलर बनाएंगे एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी ऑन प्रोमाइसिस में. ठीक है. एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी डोमेन ऐड करेंगे, वहाँ पे फॉरेस्ट बनाएंगे. क्या रहेगा, रघु डॉट ऑनलाइन. ठीक है. फिर वो फॉरेस्ट में आप क्या करेंगे, यूजर अकाउंट्स, मल्टीपल अकाउंट्स क्रिएट करेंगे. You will build up your on premises. The reason for building up it is because you will create a similar environment of a company. ठीक है, आपको प्रैक्टिस करना है, तो आप क्या करेंगे, जैसे कंपनी क्या करते हैं, आई मीन लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ विप्रो, इन्फोसिस. ये कंपनीज क्या फंक्शनिंग फ्रॉम decades when cloud didn't even existed. ठीक है. तो ये लोग क्या करते थे, ये लोग का ऑन प्रम एनवायरनमेंट था, they had like thousands of users which were created in on premises. Later on, when they plan to move into cloud, let's say in 2005 or 2010, when they plan to move into cloud, into Azure, they already have thousands of employees working with them. तो यूजर अकाउंट्स को कैसे मूव किए वो लोग, वो अपन रिप्रो करेंगे अपने लैब में, by creating a similar environment. ठीक है, ऑन प्रेमाइसिस में यूजर्स क्रिएट करेंगे विद अ परचेस डोमेन. ठीक है, वो यूजर्स को फिर हम क्या करेंगे, क्लाउड में मूव करेंगे. And we will see that the same users will be listed in cloud as well. Like if you go to users, you will see that my users are listed in over here as well. One second. ये है देखो, batch 32 Fahad at razi.tech, batch 34 at razi.tech. So these users I have created in on-premises Active Directory. डोमेन एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी यूजर्स इन कंप्यूटर, इसमें मैं क्रिएट किया था, मोइज मोइजुल्ला एट रेजी डॉट टेक. ठीक है, ये जो यूजर्स हैं मैंने ऑन प्रोमाइसिस में क्रिएट किए थे, फिर ऑन प्रोमाइसिस से उनको क्लाउड में मूव किया. ठीक है, तारिक एट रेजी डॉट टेक, परवेज एट रेजी डॉट टेक, ये मेरे पुराने ट्रेनिंग बैच के स्टूडेंट्स हैं. ठीक है, so I created their accounts similarly how we are creating for you, right? Uzma at razi.com. तो वैसे जैसे मैं क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ, similarly I have created for these people in on premises and then synchronize them into cloud so that they can utilize the cloud resources. So we are creating a typical company environment and we are reproducing it. ठीक है, तो आपको क्या होगा, उससे प्रैक्टिकल एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग हो जाएगी कि कंपनी कैसे फंक्शन होती है. सॉरी, आई थिंक उस्मा गॉट ड्रॉप्ड आउट.
Yes, Razi, I got it. Now, Raghu.online is similar to Wipro.com.
एग्जैक्टली exactly. फिर आप क्या करेंगे, विप्रो डॉट कॉम में आप जैसे पहले मतलब एज्योर में मूव होने से पहले आप क्या करेंगे, ऑन प्रेम एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट करेंगे, यूजर्स क्रिएट करेंगे, फिर उसको एज्योर में मूव करेंगे. सो यू विल गेट अ क्लियर पिक्चर हाउ कंपनीज विल मूव फ्रॉम ऑन प्रेम टू एज्योर.
Yes, Razi. So, Razi, I have one more doubt. Like now that cloud is in place, do we have to create users in this on-premises first and then move to cloud, or we can directly create users on cloud itself?
You can go, both the options are available. You can directly create users in cloud, you can create users from on-prem and synchronize. The recommended option is to go with on-premises. यूजर अकाउंट
Okay.
ऑन प्रोमाइसिस में क्रिएट करना है और फिर सिंक्रोनाइज करके क्लाउड में यूटिलाइज करना है, सो दैट द यूजर विल बी अवेलेबल बोथ द प्लेसेस एंड ही विल बी एबल टू यूटिलाइज बोथ द सर्विसेज. राइट, अगर आप
Yes.
सीधे क्लाउड में क्रिएट करेंगे देन दैट यूजर डजंट हैव एनी एक्सेस टू ऑन प्रोमाइसिस रिसोर्सेस. लेट्स से वो
Okay.
एक्टिव ऑन प्रेम एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी के कोई रिसोर्सेज को एक्सेस नहीं कर पाएगा, बिकॉज दैट यूजर इज क्रिएटेड इन क्लाउड ओनली, ही इज नॉट अ ऑन प्रेम यूजर. तो
Okay.
आप I mean ideally in a real time environment, how people do, how Microsoft customers function is like they create their users in on premises only and then synchronize them into cloud.
Okay. Okay. Got it, Razi.
Okay, Uzma, any doubts?
No. Like if we want to delete a user,
Mm-hmm.
how do we do that? If the user is leaving the company, then
Yeah, you will delete him from where you created him. Like let's say
okay,
you have created him in on-premises Active Directory, and that user got synchronized from on-premises to Azure with the same UPN. ठीक है, उजमा एट द रेट विप्रो डॉट कॉम. अभी विप्रो डॉट कॉम डोमेन खरीदने का मतलब क्या है, ये खरीदने से फायदा क्या होगा, सेम यूपीएन आप ऑन प्रेम में भी यूज कर सक रहे हैं, सेम यूपीएन क्लाउड में भी है. राइट,
okay,
उजमा एट द रेट विप्रो डॉट कॉम डोमेन आपको क्लाउड में भी मिल रहा. तो इसलिए आप क्या, यूजर्स कभी भी ऑन प्रेम में क्रिएट करते हैं उनको सिंक्रोनाइज करते क्लाउड में, by making sure domain is a verified domain in cloud. सेम डोमेन आपका वेरीफाई रहेगा क्लाउड में, तो वो यूजर्स इजीली सिंक्रोनाइज करेंगे क्लाउड में. तो जहां क्रिएट किए थे वहीं पे डिलीट. If you have created the user in on-prem Active Directory, you will delete it from on-prem itself, and then in the next sync cycle, the update will happen in cloud as well. कि ये user delete हो चुका है, so he will be deleted from cloud as well automatically. You don't have to delete him separately in cloud. ठीक है, it's a synchronization basically. we will start our class maybe by Sunday or Monday. We will start the Azure topics. So we will see how the synchronization works. It's simple with your computer, right? अभी आप लोग जैसे मोबाइल फोन्स में you're using Google Drive or OneDrive, right? So you're
Yes.
synchronizing your contacts and everything. So होता है वहाँ पे आप कांटेक्ट तो आप सीधे आप जब आप कांटेक्ट क्रिएट करते हैं यू डू नॉट क्रिएट इट इन गूगल ड्राइव और वन ड्राइव, राइट? यू क्रिएट इन योर फोन। अब
Yes,
आपके
yes.
फोन में क्रिएट करते हैं वो सिंक्रोनाइज हो जाता है आपके गूगल ड्राइव में या वन ड्राइव। ठीक है, डिलीट दैट फ्रॉम योर फोन, इट ऑटोमेटिकली सिंक्स इन वन ड्राइव एज वेल एंड इट डिलीट्स फ्रॉम देयर एज वेल।
Okay.
ठीक है, सो दिस इज directory, and this is about the domain creation and why a purchase domain is important. I'm not recommending each of you to purchase a domain, but I think we can practice with at least one purchase domain, right? एक purchase domain रखते हैं, and I think I'll purchase a domain for you guys and I will set it up for you. ठीक है, so that we'll do a repro. The same domain which I mean the same domain controller which we were practicing, right? So same domain controller पे मैं एक इस domain add करके and we will create an environment and we'll synchronize it.
Okay. Razi, you said
Okay.
you'll be providing any disk ID.
हाँ, so this machine is up and running. I've already tested out. Virtual machine connection. Oh, all right. So on this VM, if I want to connect, I can also use the team viewer over here. One second. Hmm. So this is the ID which I just tested out with. Password would be even the same password. Okay. Mhm. So on this machine, I tried with both AnyDesk or TeamViewer. दोनों से try किया मैं. So I think TeamViewer is working fine for me. The machine is started. TeamViewer.
The other day you have created a machine with my name, no? I need to create one more.
I'm utilizing the same one to test it. I mean, this machine is the same one. Actually, it got renamed to test VM. I'll create one more for you.
Okay, okay.
अच्छा ये है ना एक second. But I think purchase domain we can just have one purchase domain in place. So for that, I would suggest that let's make use of one particular instead of having multiple domain controllers for each one of you. We can make use of one domain controller, and three of you can discuss and practice, right? Divide your practice hours, and you can practice, right? क्योंकि अगर हम लोग I mean we cannot purchase all the domains.
Yes.
When purchasing multiple domains, we can just have one purchase domain and we can practice. And in that way, the load will also be better. I mean, if you are running 3 to 4 domain controllers at a time, that will be too much of load and the performance will be impacted. Like I mean, slowness experience करेंगे आप लोग बहुत stuck करेगा machine बीच बीच में disconnects होंगे. So instead of running that much of load together, we can have a particular domain controller like this machine, which I have already configured, right? तो ये मशीन आप लोग क्या कर सकते हैं साथ में आप लोग प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं. You can divide your practice hours. Like if someone is from in the afternoon hours, person can practice in the evening hours, like that.
Okay.
So this is working out for me. Team viewer, I'm connected. The ID, you can give a try. So on this machine, Active Directory is already configured. It's already in place. So you can review and you can start practice. आप और कुछ यूजर अकाउंट्स बना सकते हैं बना के प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं.
What is the password for this?
Password is AD at 2023. Put it in the chat. Case sensitive. Azure A capital, AD capital at the rate 2023.
So this is again one at a time, right, Ravi?
Yeah, this is again one at a time. But see, we can have multiple VMs separated for you guys, but that will be too much of load. And again, we'll have to purchase separate domains for each one of you. So instead of doing that, I mean, आप लोग 3 लोग हैं सिर्फ. डिवाइड करके भी प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं. आई मीन या फिर साथ में बैठ के भी प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं. यू ऑल कैन कॉल टुगेदर एंड यू कैन प्रैक्टिस. सो दैट विल बी बेटर. I think you're connected, Usma.
Yes,
It
I am.
shows your ID, MSM.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can open up Active Directory console and you can explore. Let me know if you have any challenges. Any issues with the cursor if it's not working out? Anything as such? Usma?
You said to click on the Windows key, so it is not showing Hyper-V over there.
It's not showing Hyper-V. I think that Windows is opening for your local machine. Ensure that you're using the app server Windows. This one. No, Hyper-V is not there. You're directly connected to the VM. You
Yes,
don't
yes,
need to go to Hyper-V. See, we have skipped that requirement. I mean, you don't need to connect to the physical machine and then open Hyper-V and then go to the virtual machine. You're directly inside the virtual machine. That is what we discussed yesterday, right?
yes, yes.
So you're directly inside the virtual machine. That is the domain controller itself. You can directly go to the Active Directory users and suppliers and you can practice on them.
So Razi, I'm running late to office. I'll
Yeah,
leave.
yeah, Raghu. I think we can wind up over here and I'll share the recording as well. Okay.
Okay, Razi. Thanks.
Thank you guys. Let me know if any challenges with the lab.
Okay.